talked a little bit about how I can play in front of 70,000 people, but in just a small, this is small to me. But I get butterflies every single time. So last night, I thought about it. This would be the perfect setting, you know, to use my skills. So right now, I'm going to be mindful that I am nervous right now, and that's okay. I'm gonna radically accept that, but I'm serious. So I'm gonna be mindful right now. Hold on one second. Dr. Lenahan will love this. No. We have Mary. That's not good. It's kind of extensive. Yeah, I told you I was nervous. I probably need to sit down with you again, Mary, because I'm sure you guys have a treatment program or plan for someone who, in 10 minutes, changed their introduction at least 5 times. I don't know what it is, but I need some type of help. Football players, it's all about the introduction. You know, when we come out of the tunnel, you know, we love to, you know, show off a little bit, rub our egos, and so I've been working on this introduction. So here it is. Just want to speak from the heart. Hi, I'm Brandon Marshall. Wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. Broke a lot of records, or a few records. Pro Bowl MVP recently. Signed a $50 million contract. $50 million. That's a lot of money. My wife and I, we have a beautiful home. It's our dream home. I mean, how many of us can say that we have our dream home? Beautiful, beautiful vehicle I drive every day. We have three sons, Jugo, Sushi, and Buddha. And they're all pit bulls. When I was young, I wrote down goals, literally and mentally. And at the age of 27, I think I accomplished every single one. And one of the things I do when I sign autographs, 90% of the time, I'll write dream big. So these goals, they weren't, you know, low goals. First to graduate college in my family, really a pioneer in my family in a lot of ways, trying to change the culture in our family, in my community. And what we're doing today together, hopefully, you know, in our nation. I can go on and on about different accolades and what I have, and I say all that to say that I didn't enjoy any of it. You know, there were times, there were some highs where, you know, it felt good, you know, but to have all of that and to achieve your goals, it was frightening when I wasn't able to enjoy it. And that's why I'm here today. And that's where my passion comes from. Going through treatment, like I said, I really wrote all this stuff down, like these notes. Literally, when I was sitting there, and one of the things that I came across was some of my writings. only like 2 or 3 of them, but what I did when I was going through treatment, I wrote down metaphors when I would get to the root of some of my issues, you know, and I thought it would be kind of cool to share some of that stuff with you guys, if you don't mind. It's kind of intimate, but yeah, it's pretty cool. So here it is. Lately, death seems near. I'm 27 years old, and if that day came soon, it will be marked as a tragedy. Not because I'm Brandon Marshall or a football player, but because I wasted an opportunity to be a shining light on this world, and I spent my time here blowing out flames. Lord, please give me a few more days to do your will. Some small, you know, there's sometimes just little, you know, little notes. Family can be a gift, and family can be a curse. I'm still hurting, not because of, I didn't finish that one. But, you know, this was the transitions I was making when I was in treatment. Another one. I stepped out on love, gained faith, and found understanding. Okay, here's a good one. Within understanding the pain lies the solution to replace the hurt with love. Lack of expression causes depression. That's a cool one. And with the metaphors, for me, what it does is just remind me of, like, you know, just being that process of getting to the root of some of these issues when I was sitting down with one of my pals, Dr. Gunderson. So, like, lack of expression equals depression, like, to explain that, you know, when you hold things in, obviously, you know, a lot of things inside, you know, builds up negative things, resentments, angers, and it can lead to something worse. And for me, you know, that resentment, that anger that I had in certain areas of my life, you know, it turned me into a ticking time bomb. And so it felt good when we were able to work through some of that stuff and get to the root of it. It was phenomenal. And I can't even explain it. It was the best feeling I ever had. You know, to actually sit there, work through all of that mess, and say, "Wow, like, are you kidding me?" It's just that little thing, and we did that. You know, we went through the dynamics of my family. You know, my relationship with my mother, my relationship with my father, my upbringing, my environment, and it was a cool process. It was a hard process. It was painful at times, and it was also exciting, and it was just amazing. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. It was interesting when you were up here talking about you know, the environmental issues we have and how it can be a biosocial, your biosocial theory, or not your biosocial, is it your biosocial? It is, biosocial theory. And one of the things I did when I was in treatment is that I went home, and this is my theory. It was my theory, and it was my study, but I wanted to understand myself more. I wanted to understand, you know, how it affected me, where it came from, and while I was in Boston, you know, we live in Florida, and I took a trip over to Pittsburgh one weekend, and I invited all of my family to the park, and I, you know, had a guy come out and, you know, cook for everyone, did a little barbecue, and I had a photographer there, so a guy to capture everything. And what I wanted to do is I wanted just to watch my family and how we interacted with each other, how we interacted with certain people walking through the park. And I wanted to see, you know, this generational cycle, this generational thing that I call the curse, generational curse. And what I noticed is, from my grandmother to my aunts and uncles, to us, me, cousins, and to our children, not including judo, sushi, and Buddha, I noticed that our temperament was the same. You know, how we communicated was the same. How we dealt with conflict. There was no such thing as validating. Serious. And I have all this on film. We have a documentary. You know, I captured all of this while I was in treatment. You know, I wanted to really inspire people. You know, my wife, you know, she was my inspiration. And if you guys know the story, you know, you understand what I'm talking about. If not, just Google it and you'll see that we had a scary moment a year ago. And, you know, of course, we all in here know that we all know how borderline personality disorder, it not only affects the patient, but affects our families. And, you know, my wife was wrongly accused of, you know, she was taken to jail. And when she was being placed in the back of a police car, you know, she looked at me and she said, someone will learn from this. And at the time, I didn't understand where she was going with it. And you know, as men, you know, that's one thing I learned about communication. And this is sitting in these group therapies with girls and young ladies like Ariel. And I was the only guy there, so I was learning how women communicate. My mouth to listen. And one of the things I noticed, you know, men, we go into fix-it mode, you know. And sometimes we shouldn't. But I'm glad I went into fixing mode that day because I called my buddy and I said, grab your camera and come to the house and just start shooting. I don't know where we're going with this and what it's going to do, but it's going to touch a lot of people and we're going to change lives. And it wasn't until maybe a month and a half later that we actually understood the direction we were going to go when we were at McLean Hospital. And wow. Wow. Sorry. I'm just so happy to have this opportunity because we don't know, you know, the public don't know, even some professionals, clinicians don't know, even patients and families don't know. So I think it's important that, you know, we continue to do what we're doing to advocate, to learn, to spread the word so we can change lives. Because we're losing family members, loved ones. Our communities are upside down, you know, households upside down. And the more it goes untreated, the worse it gets. And it can be devastating at times. Try not to get too emotional. And I'm really passionate about this. Try to stay on topic. But borderline personality disorder. We can defeat this. We can beat borderline personality disorder with proper help, proper treatment, and the proper heart. So let's just continue to stay on task, and I'll try to do the same up here. It was funny, Doc, when you were talking about Miss Reagan, and she got up there and she said, you know, just say no. that reminded me of the past 6 years of my life. In the NFL, there's a conduct policy. So if you get in any trouble, they're going to throw you in this crazy program. And if you're someone like me who have repeated offenses, they're going to make you talk to several people. I mean, at one time, I was talking to 5 therapists, counselors, I don't even know what you want to call it, at one time. It was like overkill. You know, one day I'm calling this person in San Diego, the next day I'm calling a lady in New York. Wednesdays I'm sitting down with Dr. Kennedy. On Friday I'm sitting down with Dr. McBride, and it was on and on and on, and I mean, it didn't help. I mean, for 5 years, 6 years, you know, it was the same thing over and over again. And I never understood why. Because like a little bit about myself, you know, I'm very dedicated, and whatever I put my mind to, I try to accomplish, but I'm determined. And on the football field, it works. But in my life, I never understood why I wanted to be a certain type of person, but I never could accomplish that. And I say all of that because, you know, that's one of the things they told me, you have anger issues. Well, duh. And one of the things that just ticked me off was when I was sitting in one of these sessions, and they told me to count to 10. And I said, that sounds like something you'll say to an adolescent, a kid. You know, I'm 23 years old, 24 years old. I'm sitting there with the same face, angry. This is my angry face. I'm sitting there with this face, and I'm like, count to 10? I said, okay, I'll count to 10. By the time I get to 10, you know, I'll have accomplished what you told me to do, but I'll still be pissed. You know, so the anger's still there. And the reason why I say that is because with the proper help and treatment, you know, I didn't have to count to 10 anymore. I don't have to count to 10 anymore because I understand the root of the problem. I understand, you know, the issue, and working through it up at McLean Hospital, you know, it's like, I don't even need that, you know, count to 10, man. I'm sitting here smiling because I'm thinking about, like, you know, and I get all over the place a little bit, so just stay with me. It's all coming together. It's just a beautiful thing when you can go through when you go through the right treatment and you get the right help, and you see progress. You know, I'm not cured, or that's what you want to call it. Like, you know, I continue to, you know, do maintenance work. I continue to, you know, use my skills. I think they'll help in any situation. But it was just amazing when I was in Boston, the things I experienced. You know, things that would have happened a year or two ago that would have made me so angry. You know, outside, you know, counting at 10. Like I said, outside I would be okay. Like, I would walk away, you know, and the pain was still there. Or I would walk away and say, man, I should have said that, or I should have done that. You know, I'm angry still, and you know, it'll take me a long time to get back to baseline. And when I got the proper help, you know, it was just like, man, I saw things totally different. You know, driving down the street, and someone cut me off, and the old Brandon would, you know, be a jerk and maybe, you know, lay on the horn or something. You know, I just looked at them differently, like with curiosity, like, wow, what is wrong? You know, I understood them more. I was like, there's something deeper than just that surface. You know, it's something inside of you. If we can get to the root of that, we'll understand why you're acting that way. So it was an amazing experience, you know, at McLean Hospital. And now, you know, I approach things with curiosity. You know, I look at things totally different. and I understand myself more, I understand people more, you know, and I say that because counting to 10, that didn't work. Because the pain was still there, the anger was still there, and it wasn't that simple. That wasn't validating. That wasn't what I needed to hear. You know, the program there, dialectical behavior therapy, the mentalization groups that I was in, the self-assessment groups that I was in, the psychotherapies that I was in, you know, it worked. It worked. And we need to pass the word so others can have the same opportunity. Just to talk about some of the things now that we have going on. I'll start with my marriage. Some of the things that we do, you know, just to keep our relationship healthy. Some of the things that we're working on or instilling in our marriage. You know, like every night before we go to bed, we'll just sit down and talk. You know, because it got to a point where it's hard for me to open up and to talk to my wife, just to even tell her that she was beautiful. You know, we'll go on dates, and it was hard for me just to say, "Baby, you're gorgeous." Not because that's what we're supposed to do, and I know, you know, women, you know, you guys need to hear that every so often. But she's gorgeous, and I will really feel, I'll be like in awe and like, wow, that's my wife. She's gorgeous. She's stunning. But I couldn't express it, you know, and so now, you know, some of the things we do now, we talk every night, and, you know, we'll talk about what are some of the feelings that came up today, you know, or emotions. We talk about family business and the household stuff, but we just talk. And the interesting thing, and one of the things that I'm experiencing now that I haven't even shared with you, Michi, is as of recently, it's like, now it's like so easy for me to talk about feelings. It's so easy for me to express myself. It went from a routine to turn into a habit, now turn into something that's so normal for me. You know, I find myself, you know, I'm like, okay, I gotta talk to my wife tonight, and it's like, okay, let me give her 20 minutes, but it'll end up being 1, 2, 3 hours. You know, the other night, we started talking right after dinner. You know, we're black, so we're a little ghetto sometimes. Our supper starts sometimes at 9 o'clock, you know, or 9:30. It's late. But so we started talking after dinner around 10 o'clock, and I'm telling you, we didn't finish till 6 in the morning. And this was probably a week ago. Wow. And we looked up, and I was like, what did we talk about? You know, and I say all that because it was hard for me to express myself, you know, and to really just not be isolated and be connected with myself and my family. So that's something amazing that I'm experiencing now. Project Borderline, wow. The NFL, someone help me please, correct me if I'm wrong. We have a little bit over 6 billion people walking Earth. Yeah. Give or take. 6.5 billion people on Earth. Less than 2,000 make it to the NFL. Whoa. Less than 2,000 make it to the NFL. Wow. And I made it. Less than 2,000. 1 out of 3 million. Wow. I made it to the NFL. Stay with me here. The NFL saved my life. The NFL made me look at myself. The NFL sent me to treatment. The NFL were the guys, corporation, that sent me to McLean 4 years ago. the NFL has insurance. If it wasn't for the NFL, I probably wouldn't be here, because I love the NFL. I love playing football. I've been playing since I was 6 years old. That was my first dream, my only dream. I had no other dream. So if I didn't do what the NFL said, they would have kicked me out of the NFL. The NFL said go to the McLean Hospital. The NFL told me to change your ways. Insurance, contract, a lot of money. You can afford to pick up and move from Florida to Boston for a few months. The NFL saved my life. The NFL saved my life because it gave me an opportunity to get the right help. It showed me the direction I was supposed to take to McLean Hospital. And I say all of that because, you know, now we started a Project Borderline. And Project Borderline, what we're trying to accomplish is to advocate, to spread the word, to bridge the gap between patients and clinicians and family members. And the reason why we're so passionate about it is because, especially in my personal situation, is because I didn't know, and if it wasn't for the NFL, I wouldn't have gotten the proper help, the proper treatment, and I would have thrown everything away. You know, I can't even imagine where I would be if it wasn't for the NFL sending me to McLean Hospital, introducing me to McLean Hospital. And I'm one of that 2,000 that had that opportunity, the resources, the understanding, you know. So what about the rest of the people? And that's why we're so passionate. That's why we created Project Borderline, because there's so many other people out there. There's 6 billion people walking this earth, you know, and 1 out of every 5 of us suffer from something. And we're not informed, we're not educated. So Project Borderline, I mean, we can save 1 life. You know, we're happy. So hopefully it all came together for you guys again. You know, but there's so many people out there that needs help. For you guys out there, you know, professional clinicians, you know, all you doctors, thank you guys. Because in that community too, you know, people are scared to diagnose it. You know, doctors are scared to deal with it. You know, don't have the patience, don't have the heart to do it. You have to have a heart to deal with borderline personality disorder. Some people look at it as a behavioral issue, but it really isn't. And it takes someone with knowledge, with compassion, with fight, with strength to really help. And that's one of the things we want to do. And I wish, you know, I was able to be in some type of therapy when I was younger to get ahead of this thing. Sometimes we're behind the 8 ball because of our upbringing, our environment, you know, just from the social aspect. And I think about one of the programs we're trying to implement in our project And one of the things that came to me was the issues we're having in our schools with the children. They call it behavioral issues. And when we have behavioral issues, what we do is suspend our kids. We put them in school suspension. We yell and scream at them, teachers, security guards. And that just makes the problem worse. It's not validating. It continues that cycle. And one of the things I thought about was like, wow, why won't we take DBT, put it into some of our school systems, maybe even some mentalization classes, so we can try to break this cycle. Instead of suspending our kids, instead of yelling at our kids and screaming at our kids, in school suspension, I like that. You know, I like it because we can take that and just switch the name to DBT and have someone, you know, have someone with the knowledge and skills. The knowledge and the skills to help our children. Because if we can get in front of this thing, you know, we can see some major changes in our children, in our communities, and in our nation. And sorry for, you know, dropping my iPad. Sorry for, you know, jumping all over the place. But I always try to bring it back, you know, in the end. And hopefully I did that for you guys. And, you know, for the families who are out there and some of the patients who are out there, just continue to fight. Approach it with passion. Approach it with curiosity, and you know, we're in this thing together. So I love you guys, and thanks for your time.
Brandon, thanks. You made it real. Can't have just one half of the family addressing this group. So Michi has just very generously agreed to just say a word or two on behalf of a family member. Thanks.
I'm going to make this very short and sweet. I just wanted to take the opportunity. This is the first time I've been able to see part of Brandon's and our team from McLean. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you guys. The progress that I've seen in Brandon and our life has been night and day. It takes a strong person to be vulnerable, and it takes an even stronger person to look at themselves every day and try and do that much better the next day. And I'm very proud of Brandon for what he's accomplished in the short period of time that he's had. And I want to thank him, as well as the team and NEA-BPD for inviting us here and giving us this opportunity and a forum to speak and share our story. So I just wanted to thank all of you guys for coming, and I thank you for keeping this so close, and Brandon and I so close to you, and close to your hearts. So thank you.